Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Everyone checking in on the cryptocurrency space, we'll start it off with the account that I was meaning to mention in the last video, and it's Caitlin Long, worth a follow. She put out good information. So the information that she put out, which enlightened me as far as a different perspective, was this article that's again on her page. What Facebook's cryptocurrency means, 6 predictions, and it is worth reading. Just some insight because again, you present me with, hey, Facebook's coming out with a cryptocurrency. What does that mean for the space? And the obvious is more exposure, more awareness. But other than that, I personally don't have much of an opinion. So nice to see what other people are thinking as to the implications that it could have on the space as a whole. So checking back in on cryptocurrency, a little bit of action this morning with a bull break. We had our tightening range that has broken bullish. Not a ton of follow through at this point, so still in a little bit of limbo. And we would have liked to have seen continuation on this move because when you break a clear resistance level, in this case it was 81.34, if you do not get continuation, you can essentially say that this is just all stop orders. This is stop buys triggering, and this is shorts covering triggering. And then once that little flush happens, nobody is left to buy right now. There's no follow through. Whenever I see a bull break, I want to see a 5-minute higher low and higher high to indicate continued buying pressure. And this is a scenario where, no, the bears didn't do their famous, complete bear blitz on a bull move, but we're just kind of fading around, not really doing a whole lot. 15-minute time frame, testing exponential support. Hourly time frame, we're going to look for a higher low to form. So no red flags. It's just not as much follow through as the bulls would have hoped for. What this does do is it does increase the odds that our weekly higher low has been set. That being said, because of the lack of follow through currently, it doesn't increase those odds significantly. So the bulls will take it, but still going to be patiently watching to see how this daily pattern develops as far as whether or not the weekly higher low has been established. Anything above 75.08 is a daily higher low, so the bulls have some space to work with, almost 6% at this point. And the best case scenario for the bulls overnight tonight is an hourly higher low and higher high to show follow through, and again, to show buying, sustained buying, aside from just those stop levels triggering. So if you are a bear, at this point, I personally would I would just be waiting for a loss of the 4-hour uptrend because I would not want to be bearish against a 4-hour uptrend. If you are looking for a bullish entry, honestly, I would be patiently waiting for a break of this weekly inside bar, which is very likely to form this week, even though we still have, 4 trading days left this week. Unless we see significant bull follow through up to 8,700, I would expect a weekly inside bar is going to form. ETH. Actually, let's go over Litecoin. So I personally was in my Litecoin position, and I still am. Have not gotten stopped out yet. This is the kind of position where I have scaled out into strength. Just pulling up LTC, BTC here for a minute. But it's the kind of position where I want to swing it, and I want to scale out partially into strength, at least partially. And once I reach a certain point, once I scale out maybe half of my position and my position is no longer large and these, $4 moves in Litecoin are no longer seeing significant US dollar moves in my account, then I can patiently wait and say, all right, I'll just get stopped out for the second half and I'll walk up my stop loss every time we establish a new support level. So that's what I've been doing with the 4-hour uptrend, walking my stop loss level up. And if I do get stopped out here, it'll be a nice week maker of a trade over the last 3 days or so. And I'll start with a fresh, clean slate. And I don't exactly know what I'll be looking to do with that fresh, clean slate because, again, the Bitcoin chart right now is in a little bit of limbo, and I'll probably remain patient and wait for another clear setup. But what we have on Litecoin is a bearish reversal candlestick forming on the daily time frame, the potential of a volume climax. It'll be high volume. It won't be very significant. It won't be significantly higher than the last couple of days, but we're watching the 4-hour uptrend, and if we see a break of 136.20, the 4-hour uptrend will be lost. Certainly time for the bulls to take a breather, and once we lose the 4-hour uptrend, we'll still watch the 4-hour exponential support, but we'll zoom out to the daily chart, and we'll say, all right, anything above 111.09 is a daily higher low. Bulls have essentially 20% of space to work with to form a daily higher low, and they are the leader out of some of the major names. So potentially a temporary top being set. And this chart on LTC, BTC, way overdone as well. We need a healthy daily higher low. The last higher low is down at 1286. And here we are bearish reversal candlestick on the daily time frame. Starting to see the most significant consolidation, and there's Litecoin triggering. I probably just got stopped out live while recording. So I'm all cash. And we'll look for Litecoin, LTC, BTC to establish a daily uptrend. But what we have to watch for, I should say, establish a daily high or low. Yes, the halvening is coming. Sell the news event because it's known and the market prices it in. I believe the last time we had a halvening approaching, the sell the news started about 30 to 45 days in advance. So we currently have maybe, 50 something days in advance. But what I'm looking at is this weekly equilibrium. And if we lose a daily uptrend, if we pull back for a daily high or low, we can't break resistance. So let's just say form our daily high or low, can't break resistance and pull back further, then the weekly equilibrium is absolutely in play. So 1892 rejecting the price is another reason why I'm just fine being stopped out of Litecoin for now. ETH. So ETH broke the daily lower high pattern. We have not changed the trend back to the bulls because to do so, we need a daily higher low and a higher high. So that's the next thing that we're going to be watching for. But if you look at the weekly time frame for ETH, that's very healthy consolidation, and that is still a potential bull flag at this point. So setting up for those bull flags, Litecoin already confirmed its weekly bull flag. Question now is, are Ethereum and Bitcoin going to follow along and see continuation, or are we going to see further weekly pullback? And at this point, like I said, the bulls have favor. The burden of proof is on the bears. The bears have to prove to us that they can take out support levels and see follow through in order to give us longer, wider ranges on the weekly time frame that we may trade within for the rest of June, July, if we were to pull back further. If we don't pull back further, this range is not large, and we certainly cannot anticipate that we're going to trade within this range for another 6 weeks. ETH BTC. So it's not an ideal equilibrium because we did break this support, but resistance is certainly valid. And that resistance up here is looking at 321, which is a double top, and anything under that level is just a lower high. So if Ethereum cannot break this level, ETH BTC, if it cannot break this level, it doesn't mean anything. And the bulls prove nothing, and Bitcoin will remain the better option, in my opinion, as a bull than Ethereum is. If Ethereum gets over this level, that will be notable because that will be the weekly time frame setting its clear high or low and making its way back up to the recent high on the weekly chart, trying to change the weekly trend essentially. So it is still worth watching. I'm more interested in the resistance than I am the support at this point. There's 2 clear support levels to be watching as well, and we could trade within this range for another 4 or 5 days or so. There's certainly some space here, and if we do form this lower high, we'll look for a higher low compared to 0.03. XRP lagging behind. Bulls not following through in any way. We have a very tight range of multiple inside bars. Anything under 4196 is just a daily lower high. Ethereum broke the daily lower highs. Bitcoin broke the daily lower highs. Litecoin broke it long ago. XRP has not broken the daily lower highs. It's standing out as weaker comparative to everybody else. 4-hour tightening range. If we can't break 4053, it's just a lower high being set. And 383 is the most clear resistance in this current pattern. And if we do pull back here further, we could stay within this tightening range for another day or so. BNB looking great. Healthy daily consolidation, bear breaks of lower highs and lower lows with no significant follow through. When you see a bear break on the daily time frame losing an uptrend and the bounce starts the day after that happens, that shows you that the bears had no follow through. We then confirmed a daily trend change with a higher low and higher high. So the daily trend is now back in favor of the bulls, and the weekly time frame is a clear bull flag, only looking up at the all-time high of 35.49, and bulls are approaching that level. New key support is 29.72, and the bulls are just fine. This is pretty much the ideal scenario of what you want to see. When you lose the daily uptrend and get no follow through, you zoom out and look for the potential of a flag. You say, yep, that looks like a flag. Bounce for the bulls, higher low, higher high. And now we'll see if those bulls can get that new all-time high sometime in the next 2 days, ideally, for those bulls. And then we're just looking at psychological resistance levels up to $40. So Bitcoin and Litecoin continue to lead the way for the cryptocurrency bulls. Keep in mind for Litecoin that now that we have topped out, we should still see some oversold bounces, but I would just be looking for short-term oversold bounces. 15-minute RSI, excuse me, 15-minute RSI, last time we hit it, we saw a bounce from 125 to 138. I certainly would not be looking for a bounce that big, but look at the 15-minute RSI. It's bouncing off 30 every time over the last week or so, and here we are hitting 30. We'll see if there's a short-term bounce off of that play. Eventually, we'll then be zooming out and looking for hourly oversold conditions for the first time in a long time. And again, just short-term flip signals on these timeframes getting oversold, as we are now in daily consolidation mode as far as I'm concerned, with the loss of that 4-hour uptrend. So congrats to the bulls. Litecoin certainly had my attention. That's no longer the case. I'll be keeping an eye on it. But with this pullback, I'm going to be scouting, can ETH-BTC break this resistance level? Essentially just patiently waiting for the next trade to come to me. I'm not going to go out looking for it. I'm going to scout the charts, but if nothing shows up, that's fine. I'll go do something else or trade something else and wait for a nice risk to reward setup that I want to be a part of. So, just to wrap it up here, if Bitcoin were to come down and give back this move and fall back towards 8,000, that's a red flag. And if it can form an hourly higher low and hold exponential support and see a new higher high tonight, that's a big positive sign for the bulls. If this move just fades, red flag. Appreciate you watching. Do good things out there, and we'll check back in as things continue to develop.